This is the Real Estate Power Play Podcast, getting you the information that you need to be a successful real estate investor. Hosted by Mark Monroe, Ronald Walker, Gabe Rodarte, and me, Marty Grizzanti. Combined, we've done thousands of real estate transactions. So get ready for real stories and true case studies on finding deals, growing portfolios, and making money. Welcome to the show.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Real Estate Power Play. Today, we have a wonderful episode for you guys. We are going to talk about kind of the state of real estate power play and where we are seeing the opportunity now. You know, things have been shifting back and forth, and it's caused a wave of uncertainty to happen with people who are investing. And we want to address that wave of uncertainty because in uncertainty, there's opportunity. And where there's opportunity, there's lots of money to be made. And we want you guys to be able to capitalize on where we are making money, where we are focusing, and where we see the opportunities, whether you're a wholesaler or you're looking to buy and hold or you're looking to fix and flip. What are the things that you should be focused on? Or maybe you're at this point in your life where you're like, you know what? I don't want just the active income, but I want to build my portfolio. I want to build that passive income. And I want to jump into the commercial realm. And where are some of those opportunities? Because between Mark Monroe, who's with us, and Marty, these guys are freaking killing not only on the single family realm, but also transitioning into the multifamily. And so, guys, I am super excited to have this conversation today. Mark, how are you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing well. I'm excited. It's been a while since I've been in all three of us who have been having a ton of great guests coming in lately. So yeah, so everything's going well. Loving Florida at the moment. I mean, the weather is just spectacular down here, you know, at the end of January and out there every day. This is why I live in Florida, and this is why everybody's coming here. It's just amazing down here right now. So how you doing, Marty?
Damn you, Mark. We get it. It's 19 degrees here in upstate New York, but no, it's the market's still warming up. The market's warming up. So we're excited about that. I'll actually be in Orlando in 2 days for our commercial real estate event that I'll be attending. I'm looking forward to that. And it's good to be with you boys. How you doing, Ronnie?
I'm doing awesome, man. Well, you say it's 19. It was 1 degree this morning here. So when I went out this morning. So that's awesome. Well, I'm excited to jump in. I want to hear about Rochester. I want to hear about the stuff going on in Florida. And I know that people, we've been interviewing a lot of guests, right? Interviewing different people. People have been coming on, sharing their stories, what they're doing. And I'm excited to have a home team podcast here where we can talk about kind of the opportunities we're seeing, not only from interviewing these guests and talking to them, but also our business. So I guess, Marty, let's kick it off with you. What is your focus in your business, both on a active money role and a passive? Where are you and your business partner focused right now, maybe for February and March coming into the end of this first quarter?
Yeah, no, great question. I think that's a question that comes up a lot, right? Especially with, New Year and, the market being a little crazy. Is like, where's the opportunity? Where's the opportunity? And I think there's always going to be opportunity with finding motivated sellers. No matter what is going on with interest rates or what's going on with the stock market or the housing market, if you're very good at finding a motivated seller, well, then you're going to find a deal. And if you can find a deal, you'll find money. So that's number one. We're always looking at where are people motivated? Where can we go and help people? Where can we alleviate the stress of a situation in regards to real estate? So yeah, there's three things that we're looking at. Let's talk about the passive first and where we can see our business building. And that's through large commercial real estate. That's industrial real estate. That's in warehousing. That's in self-storage. That's in kind of flex industrial. That's what we're targeting right now. And we really see with that predictable income. That's one of the big things that we can find. Now, flipping is something that we do actively, but the predictable income on that is not great. Now, you can win some, you lose some, hope to win them all, but it doesn't always happen. And you don't really necessarily know exactly what you're going to get from each flip. I mean, you can estimate, you can guesstimate, but it's never actually always what your thoughts are. Sometimes it's better, sometimes it's worse. So we're looking at how do we get more predictable income? And we believe that's through our vertically integrated management system that we're going to use when we buy a large industrial building, making sure that the property's leased correctly, increasing the rents, making sure that they're triple net, and then making money from the management side on that. So that's long-term passively how we're attacking 2023 is through commercial real estate. Still actively looking for flips, right? We're still doing that because in our market, there's always a need for solid housing that's in that affordability 150 to 250 type of property. There's always going to be a buyer for that for us. So we're looking at that. And then more on the newer side of what we're doing for 23 is novations. We see a lot of opportunity with novations. We're excited about novations. We get so many leads that we've just dogged in the past where we couldn't help them. We've maybe referred them to agents, but now we can sell the fact that, hey, I'm Marty Grizzanti. I'm the director of the Upstate New York Real Estate Investor Group. I have a giant pool of buyers, which I do. And oh, by the way, I have an agent on our staff who's going to then put this on the market for you, and they're not going to charge you a commission. Does that sound something that's interesting instead of taking the cash offer? So we're excited about that. We're excited about what we're doing. And that's kind of what we're working on for 23.
Dude, that's awesome, man. Mark, what about you? Where are you focused on, man? What opportunities are you seeing? What are you capitalizing on?
God, I see there's always been opportunities like what Marty said. You just got to find the right seller in a sense. So they're always there, no matter what market you're in, the hot markets, down markets. I'm kind of liking this, how the market is kind of uncertain back and forth. We were just talking about before we jumped on here, the data of showing, everybody's like, be going into a 2023. Oops, you guys still there?
Yeah.
Lost you guys for a moment. Sorry. So the data was showing last month that housing prices actually throughout the country actually creeped up at about 2.5%, which that's kind of where the normal the market is usually traditionally is 3 to 5% a year. So we're kind of coming right in line where the market needs to be, and it's gone crazy. I mean, 40% in 2 years is unheard of. So you will see some pullback in some markets, but it's all stabilizing. So I did see wholesaling, off for about 2 months, but now I'm starting to see it pick back up, and I've been seeing a lot of seller financing, which I've always been doing seller finding, throughout, the whole entire process of always doing real estate investing. It looks like I keep cutting in and out. Let me switch real quick. Why don't you guys take over and talk? How about you, Ronnie, then come back to me?
Yeah, no, I think that you guys are hitting the nail on the head. I think the opportunity to offer additional solutions to sellers and people who are supporting or who are looking for sellers, right? How do I generate opportunity myself by going seller direct? And how do I support and connect with the other people who are going seller direct as well, so I can help them get deals and in turn partner with them? I think what I found as I'm working with some wholesalers, working with some partners, and even going directly is, my mindset often affects my output. And so if I think it's a bad market, I go into conversations assuming that. And so it's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy. And there's an aspect, and I love that you go over this, Marty. It's, you have to tell yourself that you're doing what other people are not doing, right? That you are here and you are looking for opportunities, and that you're really here to help. And if you can go into that mindset and you can have almost I'm not here to be liked, I'm here to solve problems and get paid, you're willing to ask for what you want. And we hear that phrase, hey, put yourself in uncomfortable scenarios, right? Get on the phone and talk to people and do this. And what I've found in my acquisition guy that I have on team right now, one of the things I'm telling them is to put yourself in uncomfortable situations. You have to ask for what you want, right? When you ask for what you want, you put it out there and you put it on the line, right? And it's uncomfortable because you might get rejected. You might be told you're stupid. You might be told it's unreasonable. But you also might have that person say, you know what, I'm willing to do that. Or you force yourself into a negotiation. So I would encourage people that as we're out there and as I'm, going after single family, I'm looking at some storage, and then we're really focused on creating a platform that will support investors that they can go to and get resources and that stuff on the back end, with some of the stuff at our website, is it's really about mindset. It's about self-leadership. It's about controlling your emotions and providing value and asking for what you want and creating a system where you're constantly talking to people and putting yourself in those opportunities, whether it's other people in the business, whether it's sellers direct, whether it's connecting with a service provider. If you can ask for what you want and you can talk to a volume of people, there's always opportunity. It's our mindset and then our lack of output that I think really chops off our business, chops off our income produced. So Mark, back to you. I know you're focused on that and going that
Yeah.
route. Do you have
Yeah. Thanks. I apologize. Had just a bad Wi-Fi connection, so I just reconnected. So yeah, like I was saying before, the opportunities I see, I've always been, goes back to the motivated sellers, and then you being experienced enough and creative enough of how do you make it a win for the seller? How do you make it a win for your buyer? How do you make it a win for yourself? So I'm always looking at a seller's situation. What are they trying to accomplish? That's the first thing. So that's the first thing I look at. And then who's my buyer? Who's my potential buyer going to be? So I see a lot of those opportunities are still there. I'm doing the same thing. I'm gearing up, working with my JVs again. And we're looking for deeper discounted equity deals. We locked one up last night, where the seller the property's free and clear, and he owes $3,000 of tax. He goes, I just want the tax bill out of my name and just walking away from it. So we're picking this property up for $3,000. That's kind of like, those are the type of opportunities that we're trying to, that's a little bit unheard of, but it's there, So then the other opportunity that I'm really focusing on, and that I think we were just talking about this in a group chat a few minutes ago, and we should probably talk about this a little bit because it's going to change pretty much everything as we know it. Chat GPT, and I see opportunities there, and how do you shift your business to utilize this? And it's just, and I know Ronnie, you've been using it. I've used it some. I'm trying to integrate a little bit more into my CRM system, but I see a lot of opportunities happening with the technology coming down the pipeline. And for me, technology has really grown my business. And as you guys know, I'm all about systems and putting systems in place and kind of growing the business. So yeah, I'm excited. I've always been, where things are going in the industry. So thanks.
That's awesome. So guys, we're talking about the state of real estate power play and where the opportunity is in the market. And Mark brought up a really good point with technology, right? The world has and is shifting. And with the introduction of AI, in my opinion, I think what's happening is your ability it's never been a better time to have ideas in your head, because the execution of content in a written form no longer relies on you. Now it's about your ability to come up with ideas, and that execution can be developed through technology. And so that's how we're implementing that, right? So from a real estate perspective, you might ask, okay, Ronnie, what does that freaking mean? Okay, well, have you had a hard time developing 35 follow-up text messages? Well, guess what? Now you can create them in a split second, and you don't have to come up with all the messages, and every one of them can be different. All you have to do is give it an idea, and it will generate that for you, and your ability to implement in your system will speed up your ability to execute. And that's, in my opinion, where I think technology is so strong is, can you implement it to be able to execute at a much greater level? And so as you're thinking about these new things like Chat GPT and other aspects, how do I use this to implement? How do I use this to do blank? Yeah, it can be a cute tool, but how do we use this tool to make money? Marty, do you have any thoughts on technology and doing that? Are you inputting that in your business, or are you just kind of staying focused with the conversations?
No, there's definitely something there. I'm impressed. I mean, I think a lot of people may think that, at least I did, hey, sales and selling is something that, AI can't do. And it's like, don't be so naive. I believe that it can, and I think it's going to be even better. Like I'm always willing to say, hey, I'm not that good at this, and I know that this computer can be better. So yeah, I'm looking forward to using it. We're ready to go. We've been learning about it, and we're looking to implement that stuff. But at the same time, what I see a lot of more opportunity personally is with baby boomers. And what do I mean by baby boomers? Well, I see a lot of baby boomers looking to retire. And just like you see a big push on social media about, hey, you could buy a business, all these baby boomers are retiring, they got nobody to sell these businesses to. Guess what the number one business is, in my opinion? Real estate. And these guys and girls have these large portfolios of real estate that their kids and, family members don't want. And yeah, you could buy an HVAC company, a plumbing company, whatever, a roofing company, but I'd rather have the business that they're, in. And that's that large industrial property, that flex space that these individuals are in. So yeah, we're really excited about, hey, what do these people want? They want to get out and retire, and they want to still make some money. So guess the best way for us to do that is through seller financing. So I think seller financing and baby boomers are going to be the really key here in the future and for 23 and beyond.
I think that's great.
So the next question I think that would ask is, because I run into this, and I think we talked about this a little bit offline, was, when opportunity presents itself, right? You're talking about these industrial units, you're talking about active income. One of the things I'm seeing is people are more and more skeptical on if the properties they're seeing are actually deals or if it's too expensive. So I think it would be a good thing for us to talk about, both with Mark and Marty and even me. How are you judging if a deal is a deal? Like, what do you look? Is it cash flow? Is it a certain amount of equity? Is it a certain amount of future potential equity? Like, I don't think people are talking about how to analyze properties enough. And so people are hesitant. They might see a deal come from somebody, but they're like, I don't know if this is a deal or not, or if I'm gonna get caught with my pants down. So maybe Marty just went. So Mark, what have you implemented to help you make the decision that this is a deal I actually do want to buy and move forward on?
So, and vice versa, like, sometimes people are just taking a deal and it's not a deal just because they want to do something. I see a lot of that out there, especially new people or wholesalers. They're just like locking up deals and it's like, this is not a deal. And that's a pretty, that question is, it's so much, because a deal can mean, and if it's a deal, you have to be creative in how to make that become a deal, because a lot of times it'll be, people see it as a dead deal, but if you understand certain creative financing strategies or whatnot, then you can kind of turn that into a deal. So
Yeah.
my approach always is, when I'm looking at a property, I'm always looking for terms. That's the number one thing. I'm always looking at terms, and I am willing to pay higher premium if I'm willing to get like a 10, 15, 30-year term on it. Now, if they want to sell, if they don't do terms, then I'm looking for a discount. So that's kind of how I look at it. And then also the second thing I'll be looking at is the cash flow. What kind of cash flow am I looking at? I'm always analyzing the risk factor. And, if they default on the property, how, if I have to hold this 6 to 8 months, what's that going to cost me, and what's that looking at? And then I always look at whatever capital I'm putting into it. I'm looking at getting that capital return within 12 to 18 months. That's kind of how I'm always looking at a deal. But, every deal is different. It really comes down to, for me, listening to the seller, why they're selling, what are they using the capital for, and is there a way to kind of make it, for an example, we had one person that one of my JVs brought to me. The guy wants to sell the property, but he's looking for $25,000 because he wants to go buy an RV and start traveling and retire. And the numbers just did not make sense, giving him $25,000 and doing that. So what we're ended up doing is, but the cash flow is there. So he's gone to get a loan, and we're going to go ahead and pay the RV loan through the servicer, because it's a seller financing. So we're going to pay the mortgage, we're going to pay his direct finance for the RV, and then we're going to cash flow our portion of it. So we use a servicer. That's just one example where most people are just going to kill that deal and move on. And then also, and quite frankly, we're doing that one. I've actually done another one where we're doing an assignment fee like this. So we have one property right now where the ARV on this thing is 100, and this is a little bit of abbreviation of a creative novation agreement. So what we're doing on this one is the property is worth $148,000. It needs $72,000, and it came from another wholesaler, and the wholesaler is trying to tack on another $20,000 for their assignment fee. And I'm like, and then the seller actually wanted $20,000 down too. So the property's worth 148, and you're looking at almost $100,000 down. So we went back to the seller and said, hey, you know what? We need 4 months with no payments whatsoever. We'll pay the tax insurance. You're not getting a down payment. And then what we're doing is with our assignment fee on it, we're rolling that into the deal, and then we're going to get paid once it's already listed on the MLS and then sold that way. So that's kind of what we're doing it that way. So those are just some type of creative stuff where we're deals where they're normally not going to be a deal, and you kind of turn it into a deal.
I love that.
I love that.
I love that, because the creative side is where you're pulling out opportunity, right? You're basically saying, most people are like, no, I don't want to deal with that. I just want the low hanging fruit. Well, guess what, guys? The low hanging fruit is often picked over, right? Or it's rotten, or it doesn't taste good, or, there's something there. Marty, I want to hear your thoughts on that, bro.
I think in regards to what Mark was saying, that you got to be creative, especially if you're trying to continue and evolve, then you got to look at things through different lenses. So like one of the things, like, how do you analyze deals? I think that was one of the questions, Ronnie. How are we looking at deals now? It's like, I'm getting mentors, it's like, hey, I'm getting people that know what they're doing and have done this. And mainly because I am always paranoid on doing it right by the seller, right? So if we're constantly trying to think about how can I best help the seller, you're going to win. And part of that is I need to learn all the tools and make sure I have all the tools in my tool belt to help that seller, because someone else might get that opportunity, and I hate when I lose out on something, because it's not that, hey, that might be money to somebody else. It might be more of the, like, that person's not going to do it it's not going to do it as effective. Right. Yeah. So yeah, I think number one, get with mentors, talk to Ronnie, talk to Mark, join those platforms, and really figure out how is it the best way to take down some of these deals, because you can, like Mark said, there's so many different ways of doing deals. And I know that's tough sometimes to hear. It's like, which way do I do it though? Which way do I do it? Well, it's just repetition. It's talking to people. It's being around people that have done it. I mean, perfect example. I have a 10B2 calculator. And if I didn't know how to do a 10B2 calculator, I wouldn't be able to work and sell the seller financing aspect to my client. Just because somebody's in business and a business owner or a real estate owner, it doesn't necessarily mean they are math wizards and they know exactly what they're going to get paid. You have to sell the fact that, hey, Mr. Seller, like this circumstance it's a $675,000 down payment, or sorry, the property is worth $775,000. That's what we're buying it for. We're going to put down $100,000, $675,000. They're going to take back. Okay. And then they were like, well, you're only going to be paying me X amount a month. And I go, well, but look, at year 5, you make $141,000 just in interest. And boom, we got the deal. So you really want to sell some of the stuff that you might not be thinking about, like seller financing and the interest payments. You need to really sell that stuff. So you got to learn that stuff. And the best way is just through what we're doing right now.
Dude, that is amazing. The selling aspect, you have to be confident. You got to be able to present it in a confident way. That's critical. And you talk about relationships. All relationships, if you're looking for a mentor, there's 2 things that it requires. It requires time and it requires money. The cool thing with mentors is you can pay to play, right? A lot of times, if you want to connect with a high value mentor, you just pay them and they'll give you their time. And so when you're thinking about mentors, think, do I have the time to develop the capacity to build a relationship? And how is a relationship built so it's valuable to them? Or 2, can I just pay for that? And so as you're thinking about building your connections, you just pay to play, right? Or you spend your time there and you can develop that way. So that is very, very good in the direction of where's the opportunity? How do we analyze deals? I think the next question that I run into after that is that people are kind of thinking is, did I miss the boat? Right? Did I miss the boat? Man, real estate was awesome, a year ago, but everyone's saying it's hard now. Did I miss the boat? Is this a good time for me to be involved? Should I spend the money on learning how to wholesale or learning how to do subject to, or is all of it gone? So I want to pose that to you guys. Do you feel like the people who want to get into real estate miss the boat, or is this a great time to get in? Mark, let's start with you. Oh, you're muted.
Sorry about that. I actually love it when the market pulls back. That's kind of the thing that I really enjoy. But there's opportunity all the time. When the market's hot, when the market's slow, you just got to know, you have to have a tool belt on, and you have to have many different tools, different strategies, and understanding that's really what it is. And it's really just knowledge and educating yourself on the different industry and being quick and be able to be ahead of the curve of when you see something coming. Like we've been talking a year ago, we were talking about the market pulling back, and we were already adjusting all of us were actually adjusting our business to kind of tap into it, because we saw what was happening with the rates. When the rates are starting to go with inflation, we knew it was happening. Now the higher rates have started to cool some of the inflation off. So now the economy is a little bit stronger than they thought. So, but who knows? I mean, it's right now, it's month to month. That's how I'm looking at it right now, because you can have one good month and then one bad month. So it's just a back and forth right now. One thing I do want to talk briefly, because I see in the last several months here, a lot of people coming into seller financing. And I just want to, I've been really out there pushing this and trying to educate people. And we talked about this briefly before we came on, that if you're doing a seller financing deal, if you're doing a subject to deal, you have to be aware of regulations. If you're putting somebody to live in that property as a primary residence, you are at that point, because you're structuring it, you're considered a lender, originator lender. And people do not know this. And because the market's been so hot for the last 10 years, you haven't been seeing a lot of seller financing. But people are not aware of this, that you actually have to qualify. What I see out there is they're just looking for that assignment fee, not knowing if they're putting a person into the property, if they can qualify. So you have a lot of regulations that fall into place, and you have to use a licensed RMLO. So just make sure you understand that. Now, if you are selling it to another real estate investor, then you can be an exempt. But there's a lot of misinformation out there. I see people saying, oh, I can do, because you're only allowed to do 4 deals a year as a lender before you have to be licensed. But I hear people out there that's been doing this for a couple of years. Oh, you can do 4 deals in one entity and create another one, or you can do 4 deals in one trust and create another trust. It's tied to the individual. It doesn't matter if you own the LLCs or the trust. You can only allowed to do 4 before you have to become licensed. That's on the federal. Some states you have to be licensed no matter what, even if you do 1. So just make sure, I'm just trying to get this message out there, that you inform yourself if you're doing seller financing strategies, because anything that you're doing with notes and APRs and rates, you are following under lender strategy. So I just this is just an education, just to make sure you're aware of this and start informing yourself a little bit more.
Well, and on this point, I think it's the reason why these things were in place is because of what happened in 2008. And so a lot of these things, when it comes to loans, they want to make sure loans are given to the right people who have the ability to repay it, rather than just doing a predatory lending. And as a wholesaler, as an investor, you do not want to fall under someone who's predatory lending. The repercussions are crazy. And so what happens is, even though you see an opportunity to make money, you need to make sure that you're structured in an appropriate way so it can't come back on you. And that's one of the things, that as you are getting into some of these more creative deals, making sure your paperwork is correct. You might ask, okay, well, how do I get the right paperwork? Go to an attorney who's familiar with these types of strategies so they can craft it for you, right? Don't go to a guy on the side that you're not sure if he's doing it right or wrong. Take what they have as a resource and then present it to an attorney who's actually understands the laws in your local area, to be able to structure it correctly, so that way you're safe, and get some guidance. And if you're not sure if what they say is right or wrong, get 2 or 3 people. But a lot of running a business is not just how can I make the most money right now, but how can I make sure that the longevity of my business survives through making money today, as well as surviving tomorrow. And when it comes to loans and financing, these things are heavily regulated, and making sure you're not doing mortgage fraud, making sure you're not doing mortgages that could come back on you, where now you've got to cover all the stuff or go bankrupt, is very, very important. I don't want to scare you guys, this stuff actually creates more opportunity. And it's one of the things that's going to knock out a lot of people as things get stricter and stricter as time goes on. So I just want you guys to be aware of what's happening, because it is a massive opportunity, but don't get bamboozled and think the opportunity doesn't come with responsibility as well. So, Marty, you wanna tag on to that? Did people miss the boat?
Did people miss the boat? No, they didn't miss the boat. I mean, geez, what a great time to actually get into it as people that may have lucked into a bunch of deals or lucked into having houses just appraised for so much, being it so hot and all those things. They're, the mighty fall, right? And so, some of the people that may have been making a living doing this and really not knowing what they're doing, kind of like getting bailed out by the market. Unfortunately, some of those people are not going to be here next year or in the next coming years. So I think if you can win in a recession type environment, you're going to win when it's warm out there, right? You can do deals and make money in the cold, then you're definitely going to win in the spring and summer. So yeah, I think it's great. I think you're going to be able to learn a lot. I just think that my suggestion is to try to really, before you get into maybe business and working on that stuff, work on yourself. Maybe take some time for those who are not maybe sure how to, get into real estate, or they want to get into real estate and all those great things. Well, how's, you're incorporated your business, like Marty Incorporated. How are you doing? Right? How's your mindset? How is your, what's your budget look like, right? If you can't balance your own budget, how are you going to balance a property's budget, right? So just really take some time, make sure that you're ready to go, work on the mindset, get the personal development going, hit the gym, eat right. It's going to be very helpful, because you're going to be in a tough environment. So if you can do those things, I feel like that's going to really come back and help out with your business. So that's what I would say to that. I really look at yourself first.
That's really, really good, man. I love that. So to wrap up with where we're at here in 2023, we got 2 quarters left in the first year. Guys, I would say that you can lose a month. If you're behind, you still got enough, but you don't want to lose a quarter. And the way to solve that is to take additional action. Call double the amount of people, set some numbers. How many people are you connecting with per week? What does all of that look like? And put some numbers in place, put some goals in place, and get emotional about it and run after that, so you can really knock this out of the park. If you're thinking, I missed the boat, I don't have the money, and you're living from a scarcity mindset, you are going to miss the boat. But if you realize that in recessions, in hard times, fortunes are made, and you actually get out there and you're looking to solve problems, you have an opportunity to change the direction of your family life and change the direction of your life. And in these times is when there's more and more people struggling. And you might think, man, I'm struggling, I don't know how to do this. Well, you're probably not the only person. And if you can get out of your own mind and thinking about yourself and get into the mind of how do I help these other people who are struggling, in helping them, you will be taken care of. And so that applies to sellers, that applies to buyers, that applies to what everyone is trying to accomplish, because people have desires, they have goals. And if you can be one who's helping them do that, I think that's a win. Mark, any final closing thoughts for the audience?
Now, it looks like we lost Marty. Marty, we'll say goodbye to you. But no, I think this year's exciting. I think all the time in real estate is exciting. You just got to make sure you just have the right mindset. You be able to always constantly, continue improving and educating yourself. I tend to do every morning, I'm always sitting there working out physically. Besides that, I'm also working mentally and being positive minded, and just always surrounding yourself with positive minded people. If you have people in your life that are toxic, reevaluate those people and look at yourself. I grew up at one time when I was younger around, toxic friends and whatnot. And I did the book, The Secret, and it just kind of like woke me up. And I just cut about 85% of my friends and family out of my life and just spent 6 months alone to myself and just kind of refound myself in my early 30s, just refocused, and it just shifted everything. And now I'm always surrounding myself with like-minded people. And that's why I join a lot of these different high-level mastermind groups and going to some of these conventions. So you're always surrounding yourself. That's kind of what I approach suggest out there is just make sure you're surrounding your people where you can learn from. If you feel, I always like to be the dumbest person in the room. So I can learn from people. That's kind of my mindset. And I always that's my thoughts and that's approach. And then the second thing is, remember, failure is a learning experience. And it's just part of the obstacles. If you're not failing, you're not succeeding. That's the bottom line. So don't be scared of failure. You want to fail, because if you're failing, that means you're figuring out and you're succeeding and moving to the next level. How about you, Ronnie?
I think that's really good. On the failure side, think of your business, and if you can think of it more like a video game, I think people will have less emotional feeling around failing, right? When people play video games, or guys play video games, the likelihood that you're playing Call of Duty and that you die in a game is very, very high, right? You're going to play the game and you're going to die. But you're not afraid of that. You realize that that's a part of the process as you're getting better to eventually a win, or to eventually the win of a match, or whatever that looks like. You're practicing your aim, you're practicing these different things. And if you can translate that into real estate, that, you know what, when someone says no, that's like dying in a video game. You just respawn and you try again, and you practice your aim, and you practice this script, and you practice this conversation. And you can take it and kind of gamify your business. You won't take it so personally. And I think that's the thing that we have a habit of, is we fail at a conversation with somebody, and then we think we're a failure, right? And it's like, dude, it's very similar to playing a video game. It doesn't have to be tied to your identity. It's part of the process of getting better. And so, Mark, I appreciate you bringing that up, because it's so powerful that what we do in no way affects if we're at like our worth or what we're going to accomplish in the future. Our ability to take massive action, to talk to a lot of sellers, to help look for problems to solve. That's why this is a numbers game, guys. That's why you've got to talk to more and more people. You've got to connect with more and more individuals until you're able to filter down and figure out, you know what, these are my solid sources. This is what I like to do, and here's where my money's coming from. So, guys, we are live, or we have everything comes out on YouTube on Thursdays. We also have the podcast on every major podcast platform. You can get us at Apple Podcast. You can get us there. We've also got multiple YouTube channels talking about different things, from single family to commercial, to interviews with guests who are doing big things like raising private money, all the way down to just building a rental portfolio over time, one step at a time. Our goal here is to give you strategies to win in your real estate career. Go back and watch some of that stuff. Get involved in real estate, because these strategies work today. And the people who are using fear and scaring you most often want to sell you something. And we are here trying to provide the solid strategies so you can win, so you can do your next deal. And we're always here to help. If you're looking to do, creative finance deals, do anything like that, reach out to Mark. If you're in one of our areas, whether it's New York, Michigan, or Florida, reach out to us. And we'd love to be able to plug you into the networks to be able to, you can succeed and we can succeed together on this journey in real estate. So go watch some of the other stuff, go get yourself educated and get equipped so you can capture the deals today. Until next time, guys, peace.
Take care. This has been another episode of Real Estate Power Play, guiding real estate entrepreneurs to a brighter future. If you liked what you heard, consider subscribing wherever you listen to your podcast, or follow us on YouTube at Real Estate Power Play.